Hello, hello, hello. Making sure this works. Let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Cantina MX Football Podcast. We're on episode 486. Uno más, por favor. One last jornada until we figure out the finalists, the direct six, and of course the play-in situation. It all comes down to one more match. And on top of that, we are piling up the injury list. Santi Jimenez joins the injury reserved, and a controversial post today on social media explaining why he's been dipping in form. We'll talk about that tonight. Before we go any further, just want to welcome everyone and encourage everyone to join us live on YouTube. Leave comments there, leave questions there, or on Twitter Spaces. You can actually just request to speak and we'll patch you through. Thank you much for your support. Let's get this going, guys. Coming in from SoCal, my good friend and co-host, Joel. Joel, how are we doing?
Hello. Greetings, gentlemen.
Hello, Joel. Welcome, welcome. How you doing? How's the weather?
I'm doing great. The weather seems rough, but not for me. I think Mex is going through some things. So just really brief of what's going on in Mexico before we dive into the football. First was the assassination of what was his name? Carlos Manzo, I believe, the mayor of Uruapan. And I think we've gotten used to seeing a lot of political figures in Mexico get taken out.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Except this one seems to have, sent some waves, and Mexico's been getting criticized. So that's one of the things that happened. We're kind of mentioning part of this part is because Mexico's getting ready to host its third World Cup.
Yep.
And you kind of have this surrounding the country as they get ready to host the World. The second grim news, it's on the outskirts or in the surroundings of the Estadio Akron. So I don't know if you guys remember, I don't know if it was a few months back, it was the Rancho Izaguirre, where they found all this discarded clothing and shoes. And there was no bodies. It was just like,
really,
belongings of people. Well, they started finding bags of dismembered bodies.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's right by the Akron Stadium, literally in the surrounding area.
Really?
So I guess it's turned into a dumping ground. It's now of about 400 bags.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know how many people fit, but they're saying disembodied, so I guess it's like legs and arms and all that. That's pretty rough.
Are you saying it's like the Bay Harbor Butcher, like Dexter status?
Times 100, bro.
Oh, fuck, dude. That's horrible news.
Yeah, it's kind of bad.
I was debating going to Zapopan, Guadalajara for Liguilla, right? Like I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood to support my team and go to one of these games.
Oh, you should be safe, Jaime. Just don't be driving in that area at night. Stay away from certain places, and I'm sure you'll be fine. But yeah, I don't think Mex is a place where, like before, you could just travel and not feel any sense of danger. And now it depends where you go. Some areas you could travel freely, and others are a hotbed. The last one was the passing of Carlos Hurtado. He was a very well-known promoter for many years in Liga MX, and he just recently passed away. I'm not sure if it was yesterday or today. I don't think by this point he was as influential as he had been. seems to be Bragarnik now, who seems to have the lead. But yeah, at one point I think he could make or break teams.
Huh.
And there was a whole discussion in the chat about, if this is the type of person that benefited Mexican football or on the contrary, hurt it. So we might get into that.
Yeah, well, thanks for bringing that up. I saw it all over my Twitter feed, and I'm, not well versed in like the personas of Liga MX and the promoters and like the political business side of the business. So yeah, hopefully you can enlighten us later on tonight's episode. But
yeah,
I'm gonna ask you like point blank. Violence in Mexico, it's always been a thing. Unfortunately, it's just the narco culture and just like the way Mexico makes its money, it's not glamorous, right? And America's its number one customer, so there's also some guilt on that side. But what would it take for FIFA to step in and say, you know what, this is unsafe for fans, like you're not allowed to host? Like, would it ever get to that point, do you think?
Damn, that's it. I think if you have more stuff going on like this, they can, they certainly can. You don't know if the U.S. government pushes for it, because what was it, 2 weeks back maybe, Trump said that he didn't feel California was safe. I mean, shit, if you think Cali is unsafe, Zapopan is like, it's definitely not safe. And the FIFA president came out and supported Trump. He said, if he says it's not safe, it's not safe. So, shit, what? And, that's more to do with U.S. politics, though. And I think, with Mex, there could be that pressure. But we haven't heard anything, anything yet. But I do, like you were saying, how Mexico's been pretty rough for a couple of years. I do feel it's gotten worse, because I remember I used to like going on the bus. I used to like taking those cheap buses. And I remember when they started putting up signs about because they were getting, they would stop the bus, come in and rob everyone. And even that wasn't that. I mean, it's scary and it sucks, but you lose your money and then they let you go. But, it got to that point of people disappearing and then that's some next level shit, because you don't know what's going on there. And that amount of people, it's like, you have to wonder how many of those were innocent or were not involved in any of that stuff.
So
I don't know, Jaime.
I asked
what's your question? I don't know.
I asked Chapin what would it take. It says violation of FIFA's human rights policy. They can revoke hosting rights if there's clear evidence of forced labor, discrimination, and that's bullshit, right? Because Russia and Qatar, right?
Yeah.
It says war, political instability, or security risks, so they can suspend or relocate the tournament.
Yeah.
And it says
security risk, I would say.
This one I can see the most realistic: breach of contract or organizational failure. So if they have a binding agreement to build or prepare stadiums on time and they don't hit the deadlines, they could basically like remove them or revoke their host status. And honestly, like at the pace it's going in El Azteca, and I think Abdias is going to join us right now. He went to Monterrey not too long ago. He said they're not ready.
True.
So I think Guadalajara was the only city I've seen that's like ready to host. Like
the stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just had to change their field, which they did. They did a magnificent job, as we saw a few weeks back. But that torrential rain pour, and then after 20 minutes, the field was immaculate.
It says corruption or fraud in the bidding process. Fucking FIFA's corrupt there. So like that would never happen. Government interference with football governance. If the country's government interferes directly in the football federation, they can get revoked. Yeah. But I'm going to bring on Abdias now. Maybe he can give us some perspective and settle this debate for us. Welcome, Abdias.
Buenas, buenas, cabrones. ¿Cómo andamos esta noche?
It's getting chilly out here, man. It's November.
Chilly? Bro, you're in California. Let's talk about like 30-degree weather. Let's talk about that shit.
It's 60 degrees. I can't wear shorts outside anymore. That's how I know it's getting chilly.
My dude, we're about to get the first dusting of snow come Sunday.
Oh, damn. Sucks to suck.
Yeah, no, man. It's not for the weak, unlike y'all Cali
Listen,
motherfuckers.
Our real estate in California is so expensive because we pay to skip the shitty seasons.
Shitty seasons? Bro, you have to take trips to go skiing. I'm here in my backyard and I can do it.
We got Lake Tahoe. It's not too far.
Yeah. Like, that's a great fucking destination.
It is a great destination. How dare you?
Ski the East. What's wrong with you?
I don't ski. I'm not privileged. I go tubing.
Wow, pinche indio, güey. No mames. You don't pick up any of the white man sports?
I don't go on the slopes.
Next, you're gonna tell me you don't play lacrosse.
Hell no. What the fuck, dude?
Ves, güey, chingao. Like, you didn't grow up with Dragon Ball Z. You had parents
No.
that cared for you, and yet
Bro.
you didn't assimilate.
No, man.
You even eat fucking Taco Bell.
There's nothing wrong with Taco Bell.
There is everything wrong with Taco Bell.
As long as you don't call it,
güey.
as long as you don't call it Mexican food, I'm cool with it.
Nah. See, ves, güey, you're trying to normalize it. Nah.
Bro.
Si comes Taco Bell, güey, te voy a quitar tu pinche green card.
I don't have a green card.
Damn. You know what? I'm just gonna stop talking because you're just showing your colors.
So, Abdias, what would it take for FIFA to step in and say, Mexico, you're deemed too dangerous. We're going to revoke your host status?
I would say maybe the governor of a major municipality being murdered with a bunch of witnesses around. Maybe civil unrest where the population is having mass protests taking over Palacios de Gobierno. Or maybe the fact that they have found over, what is it? I think at this point right now, we do the math, we're talking about 100 plus body bags or bags filled with chunks of people all around one of your host cities.
Yeah, that's what Joel was saying.
Like, I don't know. Pick any one of those three, but realistically, it's not going to happen, guys.
Yeah.
You know why? Because Mexico just signed legislation that makes FIFA tax exempt within Mexico. So any provider, anything related to the World Cup is now tax exempt, which means Mexico will not be getting any of that extra revenue, that tax revenue that we thought we were going to be getting. Not going to happen. They won't lose money for being there. And as we clearly saw and know, they don't give a shit about human rights. Look at the slave labor that was happening in Qatar. Look at the discrimination that happened in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you fucking had a reporter die in Qatar on the fucking sidelines.
R.I.P.
Y nada.
And he was very outspoken against discrimination.
I mean, bro, all right, not to speak ill of the dead or anything like that, which I'm not even going to speak ill about him, but like he was very vocal about not being allowed into the stadium because if you guys remember,
yeah, he wore like a pride shirt.
It wasn't a pride shirt, dude. Nike released this Apple Watch band that was weaved in multicolors. It was black with a bunch of different colors woven into it, right? They saw that and they said that it was an LGBT band and they wouldn't allow him into the stadium because of it. And now the story is that band was something that his son picked out for him. So a little kid sees something colorful.
Wow.
They like it. They say, Daddy, take it with you so that way you remember us. No lo dejan entrar al estadio. Next time that he goes back, he fucking dies in the stadium.
Yeah. And his brother was gay. And that was like why he was very outspoken about, like gay rights and all that. So
Pues ya sabes cómo son los putos, güey.
Well, they did do an autopsy, and
yeah, they said it was
I
no
don't
foul
think
play,
anything
but
came out of that
come on.
because we never heard.
Let me
Because there was
guess.
some,
He originally died of a fentanyl overdose.
no, it was like pneumonia or something. Yeah,
gotten sick, but I mean, I don't know. I think it could have been coincidence of him getting sick to that point. I don't think. I think if Qatar and FIFA wanted to, they would have just banned him or kept him out.
yeah, they would have revoked his media access and all
They would
that.
have, yeah, they could have made whatever. And
He was working for, was it Fox at the time, or what sports?
Sports Illustrated, didn't he?
Sports
work for
Illustrated.
Sports
That's right.
Illustrated?
Yeah.
Yeah, they could easily do that and claim whatever thing, and then just keep you fighting to get whatever, and then give it back to you once the tournament ends. And I don't think most people would have cared because it's smack dab in the middle of the tournament, and no one's going to worry about a journalist. So I don't know, man. I remember hearing he could have been poisoned and all that, but I don't see the need to go to that extreme. Especially if you got that Qatari money, you'll shut a lot of people down really quick, or just pay them off to just shut the fuck up and not report anything.
I'm gonna bring on Rifado real
yeah.
quick, see what his take is on this situation. Rifado, welcome.
Hey, good evening, everyone, and I love that we're starting off with a bang. Fucking the geopolitics behind soccer, I love it. But what's it called? I'm with Abdias. It's not gonna go anywhere. And just to give you context, in the 1968, in the year 1968, there was like riots 10 days prior to the start of the Olympic Games in Mexico City, and the government shot and killed like 300 students in a protest, right? And then the Olympics carried on, and it was like subverted. And while I don't think that's possible nowadays, like I definitely think that so long as you grease the right hands or grease the right wheels, like you can get away with anything.
Grease the
And
pig.
yeah. Like you guys already said, Qatar, like slave labor,
Yep.
Corruption in Brazil. I think I don't know about Russia. I don't remember what the shit behind Russia was. I know they
discrimination. I think.
Oh yeah, they're hooligans or kind of rowdy. So like everyone's guilty. But yeah, it's so crazy that like one of our stadiums is like not ready, the other one's filled with body bags, and then the Monterrey one is like hell on earth. So it just goes to show you Mexico, I don't know, maybe not the most inviting place.
I just think the one difference I would say from 68 is just social media, where anyone's a reporter. And
hold on. The other difference is the fact that they shot those students in the back while they were trying to flee.
Oh, damn.
All right, let's not gloss over this.
That's
the military killed students while they were running away. You
interrupted me, and then you claim that I'm glossing over it. No, mommy's way. I'm saying there's no like footage of it. That's the difference. I'm saying not everyone has a camera, everyone's a reporter. For example, the Manso getting shot, there's footage of it, and we've seen footage of other people being assassinated. So that's the big difference now. Before it was like, and this is probably what led into a lot of the Televisa hate. There was not, and other news outlets, because there was no reporting. Granted, I'm gonna say it's government controlled. So it's either you do what they tell you, or they could just take your, sell your whole thing to someone else. And at that point, Mexico was, they were still under dictatorship, the perfect dictatorship. So I mean, that's also taken into account, but that's where a lot of the Televisa hate ended up coming from a sector of people saying like they were with the bad guys. But yeah, I would say that now people can record, once they put it on social media, it's out there for everyone to see, and that's where it could become way more impactful. I think the body bags have made it too, because they've been like, I think workers found them, and they're kind of out there isolated. But the mayor being shot. There's a few videos. I haven't seen them, but if you find them, if you search them, you'll find them.
You know, one thing, Joel, is that you kind of can get away with it today. Like, for instance, everyone knows that there was murders or like casualties in the what was it, the Querétaro versus Atlas game, where it broke out with fights and it was just like brutal, right?
Yeah.
But they announced that there was no deaths, and we know that's fake. But the media, like, even to this day, was complicit in like subverting that. And so, like, people criticize Televisa and other conglomerates in Mexico, even now, for downplaying this stuff, because, I mean, even today you can get away with it. So, I mean, it's harder, but it's still possible.
Yeah, that one is crazy, because there was people that showed, that put online like what they recorded, and you did see some people on the ground that look pretty dead, and I was waiting to see, maybe we'll hear something from the families of the deceased, and nothing happened there either. And I think at this point, one of the rumors was that the violence had to do with cartel, rival cartel members. And I could see that, why families wouldn't put something, because they have access to social media as well. And they use social media as well, too. So, I mean, they're savvy at that, too, they could have threatened and said, if you put something, then we're coming after you.
I have a question, and this is gonna go out to the older crew on tonight's panel. Leading up to the '86 World Cup, it was originally assigned to Colombia, right? And then it ended up having to go to Mexico, and Mexico had just gone through the earthquake. So was Mexico in a position to like host the World Cup in '86? And also, were there people were there protests against them hosting again?
The earthquake happened after it was awarded. So obviously, So what happened was that when Colombia got the World Cup awarded, it was a 16-team tournament. Okay, and they were going to 20. They were going to 24. So it was going to increase. And when Colombia basically said that, hey, we can't do this, we don't have the infrastructure for a 16 or for a 24-team tournament. We still want to do it, but it's going to have to be 16. And it's like, sorry, I think the quote that I remember was something about the egg already hatched, and we can't unhatch it. It was something to that effect. So then what happened was that the people that were in line to host it was Canada, the U.S., Brazil, and Mexico. And it ended up being basically between the U.S. and Mexico, because Brazil and Canada they couldn't get everything. They couldn't get their ducks in a row. So then again, it was against the Mexico, the Mexican FA, and the U.S. FA Federation. And there's a thing called un cuaderno de cargos, which basically is it's a set of what do you call it, like a task that each federation has to basically present FIFA, and basically they have to have assurances from the local governments, the state governments, the federal government, from the president, from basically all the stakeholders. And Mexico, because of the experience that they had with the '70 World Cup, and because it's more of a soccer nation than the U.S. at the time, they were able to give FIFA the assurances that they were going to have free range. They were going to be able to do anything they wanted in the country. And the quote that I recall the most with this one was, and it was Sepp Blatter when he was actually a VP. He still wasn't the president at that time. It was still the Brazilian João Havelange. Sepp Blatter said something to the effect that our concern is going to Joe Robbie Stadium, which he was talking about in Miami, and not being able to take out those names. So it had to do with basically sponsorships. So that's what basically got Mexico the edge as to why they were able to get the 86 World Cup. There were protests when they were awarding it naturally, because at the time the Mexican economy was kind of in the tank, and obviously, rightly so, many people were upset. It's like, well, how the hell are we going to be investing in sports when there's people that can't, we can't feed.
Yeah, that was the same in Brazil 2014.
Yeah, it was.
They're building stadiums instead of hospitals.
Yeah, but if memory serves me, I think that Mexico only built 2 stadiums for the '86 World Cup, and that was Querétaro. They made basically a mini Estadio Azteca, and they gave it to they did one for Toros Neza over there in that stadium
that's a World Cup stadium.
Yeah, dude, it's a shithole.
Who they threw over there, man?
Yeah,
Iran versus.
They should have just given it back to. They should have just given it to Toluca, because Toluca hosted it in the 1970 World Cup. But in the '86, Monterrey was able to get it, which they did not get in 1970, and part of that had to do with, at the time in the '70 World Cup, and I actually have the magazine, one of those football magazines, Colección de Oro, where the editor of the magazine's basically just ranting that Monterrey should have been a host city for the '70 World Cup, but instead they gave it to Puebla, and part of that was because at the time the Mexican president, he was from Puebla, and obviously he wanted to help out his friends in Puebla, so they built a stadium, and everything was taken to Puebla. So there are a lot of side deals and dirty deals come the World Cup. I'm not so sure that is prevalent. I mean, there's the thing about the World Cup, and not just the World Cup, but just major sporting events, whether it's the Olympics, the Winter Olympics, whatever, is that there's a reason why there's been a tendency of taking basically these tournaments to countries that don't have the best track records in human rights. Russia, China, and stuff like that. I mean, taking like, for example, like taking the Winter Olympics to a place that's doesn't have winter or snow all year round, and stuff like that. And part of it is because you're able to launder money in construction. You're able to jack up the cost and hide a lot of money. So I'm kind of wondering how they're able to do that, taking it to Mexico and to Canada and the U.S. So, because I mean, the infrastructure is pretty much there. I mean, other than a couple remodels and stuff like that. But I tend to wonder how much or what inclined FIFA to accept this bid. When in previous cases, Qatar, the one in Qatar and the one in Russia, there were always reports of just dirty deals and just a shitload of human right violations. But other than that, what was your other question, Jaime, about the '86 World Cup?
No, I mean, I was just asking like if there was any protest against it, because they experienced
there were
the World Cup, the earthquake, and it's like, we're over here, trying to host the World Cup when we need schools.
So their kid was just there.
So the thing with that though is that the earthquake came after the fact, and believe it or not, being a host country for the World Cup, it actually brought more international attention, and it actually helped Mexico because Mexico did get a lot of international help regarding the earthquake. So it actually was beneficial for them in that sense, that because they were, about to host, they were going to host the World Cup. There was a lot of countries that were basically sending aid, for the recovery and efforts. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think there's a photo of Bengal as a student or something like that. He was a young adult in Mexico, that he went to Mexico for. I want to say it's Bengal, but I'll have to look at it. But yeah, of him being in Mexico as a volunteer in Mexico.
For sure. Maybe Ron, you can enlighten us with this promoter that just passed away. I feel like there was only like one photo circulating when the news broke out, and I'm just like, who is this guy that they only have one fucking photo of him?
So here's the thing. He's there's a lot of he doesn't give. I think in his career, I think he only granted like 3 interviews, right?
Oh shit.
So it's not a lot. It's not a lot. And the thing that you have to take in consideration is that you have people on both sides. You have people that think the world of him, and you have other people that think he's a piece of shit. Like the one that stands out the most, the two that stand out the most is Garcia from Atlante and Carlos Hermosillo, right? But then you have other guys like Billy Alvarez, Enrique Borja, a lot of the people from the old guard that speak highly of this guy. And unfortunately, we really can't get a good gauge as to was this guy really
Wait,
a
Ron,
piece of shit?
you mentioned something interesting about Hermosillo being the most vocal, and it made me realize, because before you could say, well, they could just not get access to media, to radio, where they could talk shit. But now we have social media. You don't need to be Televisa. You don't need to be TV Azteca. You could just have, a podcast, and it will go viral. And we would have seen. I do feel we would have seen by now more outspoken players and whatnot. And we haven't. I think you say something.
Take it for what it's worth, okay? Let's use Hermosillo. Hermosillo he tends to have beef with a lot of people. So, whether it's Hugo Sanchez or just other players that he's played with, he tends to be a bit problematic. I'm not going to use that against him and stuff. And obviously he had a bad relationship with Hurtado, but keep in mind, and this is according to his own accord, was that prior to him leaving Cruz Azul, he was already trying to get out of Cruz Azul. In fact, Chivas, and he said it himself, Chivas was offering him more money, and he was thinking about it. And then 6 months later, Hurtado basically said, "Oh, by the way, you're no longer going to be with Cruz Azul." And then Billy Alvarez, tells him, and that bothered him, and I understand, rightly so. But keep in mind is that for every person that I hear people talking shit about the guy, I also hear other people to say, "Hey, man, this guy was great." And I'm not a fan of him. I don't think he's the boogeyman either. I think he's just an opportunist businessman. And
sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. For people not familiar with what Hurtado did, look at Club de Cuervos. The Spanish promoter, the guy that would do all this nasty stuff, I believe it's loosely based on Hurtado and Lara, like how they would manage themselves with the teams, how they would move around the players. So that's kind of like what he did. He was he'd take control of clubs, and like Ron said, he has a good reputation and a bad reputation.
I was telling Rifado a couple earlier in the day that the whole promoter
We got an echo.
agent. I know who. Why? Who's?
It's Albert. Albert, I'm just gonna mute you when you're not talking. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear
All right.
you.
All right. So basically, I was just telling Rifather, the whole promotor thing really spawned from scouts, because at one point it was the scouts that were basically selling their services, and there were a lot of scouts from South America that basically had a lot of good dealings or a lot of strong relationships with the Mexican Federation and Mexican clubs, particularly Cruz Azul, America, Pumas. Jose Antonio Roca, he's a legend with Club America. He would go down to South America for 2-3 months, and basically just go and spend a lot of time with these scouts, going from country to country, from club to club, and that's how they were able to get all these players. And it was more of a professional, one-on-one relationship. That's how it used to be in the 70s and even into the early 80s. So then what happened was, in the early 80s, that's kind of like when the business model started to change, and you started to, and Mexico was basically flooded, and that's when you started to see Lara, Hurtado,
Goldsmith.
and Goldsmith was actually an owner. He owned a second division team, but he was also a promoter. In fact, I met the guy at Copa Texas, and also in Interliga in Houston. I didn't know who the guy was. It's funny because you know how they say that these guys are ghosts. I was at the Reliance Stadium, and I noticed anybody was going to this guy. He's a white guy. He kind of had almost like a lazy eye and stuff like that. And like everybody was going to this guy, Cuauhtemoc Blanco, going in and hugging the guy.
Damn.
And like everybody, yeah. So I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And so I introduced myself, Jimmy, and he's like, Jimmy Goldsmith. I said, okay, but I still didn't know who the fuck this guy was. And it's like, but I'm telling you, everybody, the club, the owners, the president, Sagi, everybody just, Jimmy, ¿cómo estás? Boom, 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 boom. And then finally, I asked one of the guys, one of the utility guys, and I'm like, hey, who's that? Oh, that's Jimmy Goldsmith. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, everybody knows him, and he was telling me this. The guy basically, they made him sound like he was like the goddamn Godfather. It seemed like
he basically put in a call to AC Milan. This is when AC Milan was the best club, dude. They were the top. And he fucking, so that they could train Chepo. He's like, hey, I'm sending you a dude over there. And they fucking opened the gates and took him in for a while he could learn from their trainers and coaches. But I mean, yeah.
But here's the thing. In that same interview that I heard Carlos Hermosillo bash Hurtado, who do you think he was praising? Jimmy Goldsmith. Jimmy Goldsmith was flying him in helicopters and taking him on vacations. So that's why I take this shit with a grain of salt. Okay, that's why I told Gordito in the chat room, he's a boogeyman, and we don't have all the facts with this guy. So like I said, I'm not. Yeah, go ahead.
So I just want to piggyback off what Ron said. There is like this mystery man thing behind him. He was known as the Miami Man. He was an enigmatic promoter who, although rarely appeared in media, pulled the strings of several Mexican clubs. Now, this is paraphrasing Jose Ramon talking about him. And so I pulled the article where I think the writer takes some license with what Jose Ramon originally said, so he paraphrases him instead of directly quoting him. But just to hop also on what Albert Perez was saying. Alberto, Club de Cuervos does a really good job of making a boogeyman version of a Hurtado or the Miami Man, where in a whim he could bring you 4 or 5 serious players that could help you meet your goals, but in that same instant he could take them away, and in the series, you know, the players like feign injuries, and then like boom, your $1 million project, you know, it goes out the window, just like that. And so like in my opinion, and a lot of detractors of people like this Miami man Hurtado, you know, rest in peace. Like it's that one guy who's not a player nor like directly a part of any one club can go ahead and be so powerful in the league, in the Mexican league, and control like multiple clubs at, you know, at his height. And so I obviously don't think that's cool. And I don't think that's good for Mexican soccer. So I'm not a fan of Hurtado, from what I know. But I'm not the greatest expert on him. You know, like I heard about him because it's like, who the hell is this Club de Cuervo villain based off of? And it was Hurtado. And but the truth is, like Ron says, we don't know a whole lot about him because, like the article also states, he always omitted his paternal surname, adding mystery to his already intriguing persona. So this guy was straight up, you know, puppet master, ninja warrior, you know,
So-
Mexico.
Wait, really quick for those
yeah.
that don't know, just really quick, Ron. For those that have never seen Club de Cuervos, it's a Netflix series. It's based on Liga MX. It kind of pokes fun at the Mexican soccer. It's really funny. So if you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. And a lot of the things that happen are things that have happened in Liga MX. And I do think it's very similar. You know, it even went to the point of Rafa Marquez came out and announced a players' union, and he did it in the show before doing it in real life. But I recommend that show for those they want to know a little bit more of just the Liga MX shenanigans.
All right. So going back to how the promoters, how that when that business really started to take off, right? So the business really was taking off, and when you started getting into the 80s and stuff like that, you had guys. The ones that I remember was basically Enzo Giannoni. If I recall, I think he was from Uruguay, and Nico Gravina, if I remember correctly. And like you said, those guys had a lot of influence. And one of the things, if you guys recall, in the early 90s, they started the draft. And basically, what the owners were trying to do with the draft was that they were basically trying to cut the middle guys out, the promoters, right? But the promoters, they got smart. The business model changed, right? The landscape changed. They changed their business model, and that's what they did. And that's basically when you started to get, you started to see Memo Lara, Carlos Hurtado, Jerry Olvera. Those are the guys that kind of basically owned or controlled, the landscape in the 90s and early 2000s. And the reason I don't vilify them is because without them, I don't think our soccer would have grown to what it did. And the reason I say that is because it was those guys along with others that were the ones that basically, and yes, profit, that was their main motive, to go into South America, go play Copa America. They're the ones that went to Venezuela. They basically told, Venezuelans, what do you want? How much money do you want?
Wait, Ron, you forgot one key ingredient in all this.
What's that?
The money laundering that was going on. A lot of that stuff had been going on in Colombia, and they sort of brought it.
Yeah.
Lara and Hurtado were involved in both. And it got to the point where even the FARC, like a revolutionary, some paramilitary, something group in Colombia, was even trading players in.
No, of course. Hey, that's why I'm saying I don't believe in the boogeyman, because
the clubs knew, and they were making money too. They were.
Yeah, those promoters are in Uruguay, Chile, Brazil, Argentina, and obviously it's profit motivated. I'm not naive. But I also know this: if the league wanted to end it, they would end it. but they haven't. Why? Because players, not all of them, but some of them benefit. Some of the clubs, not all of them, but some of them benefit. It's the same thing with coaches. So there's a reason why the clubs owners, all 18 of them, has said, fuck you guys. We're not going to do business with you guys. Go pound sand. Because they have the power, and if they wanted to do it, they'd do it. But some of them are in bed with these guys because they personally benefit from these guys. So, I mean, take that for what you will. I mean, it is what it is. I'll give you an example, guys. My folks basically spent the last 30 years traveling, working all over the world. And they had a rental management company manage their properties. And the fact that, they weren't out of the country, my folks noticed that they wanted to rent the properties every 6 months, as opposed to a year lease and stuff. So why would they do that? Because it was more beneficial for those rental companies to rent out the property, 6 months, because they would get a month, as opposed to the year, And I remember one particular case, the house that I grew up in. It seems like the realtor was always getting that property rented every 6 months. And it's like my folks, they thought it was bullshit. But then one day, my brother's high school friend says, "Hey, we want to rent the house." Sure thing. Well, the realtor didn't want that, and there's a reason why, because that would take into their cut. So it's the same mentality with these promoters, and there is a bit of truth to what you guys are saying about the Club de Cuervos and stuff like that. Now, granted, I know that that's fiction, but the same greed that they have, and I shouldn't even say greed, but the same motives that they have, the player has it, and the manager has it, and the owners have it. So it's everybody benefits from it, but nobody wants to admit it because it is what it is.
Would Celaya be a super team without these guys? Didn't they have like Hugo Sanchez on that team? It was like squad was crazy. I mean, it put Celaya on the map.
Yeah, Celaya. Yeah, they were. I mean, they reached the final. And that's. I like I said, I don't. What I think is odd now is I really thought. Well, I think this happened, in 2002, 2001, when they formed the FPRO, the Asociación Mexicana de Futbolistas. I think right now, Melvin Brown is the president of that federation, right, or that union. I had a feeling that, or I thought at first, was when they formed this. If you guys recall, I mean, a lot of the big guys were part of this, like Rafa Marquez and stuff like that. So I'm thinking these guys are going to be legit. Fuck no. I thought those guys were going to put an end to it, but they didn't. The players still deal with all these promoters. So that should tell you something. Guys, speaking of Melvin Brown, a couple months back, he was throwing shade at Hugo Sanchez, basically saying that he didn't do anything for the player. I don't know if you guys recall that. And I started laughing because Melvin Brown, if he knew a little bit about history, he would have known that when the draft came to be, it was actually Hugo Sanchez, not Carlos Hermosillo. It was actually Hugo Sanchez that wanted to basically boycott the 93 Copa America, fighting for better rights for the players. But it is what it is.
I want to move the conversation forward to sort of breaking news today. We've been talking about Santi Jimenez's form and how he's been really struggling to score goals for AC Milan. He's been getting a lot of heat, a lot of criticism. He finally went on social media today and let everybody know that he's been carrying an ankle injury, and that he's going to step aside for the time being. I'm not sure officially how long he will be on the sidelines, but part of me is like calling bullshit, like for him to supposedly be injured and have to go on record. Like, it's just really bad timing with him getting really criticized for his form and all that, and all of a sudden now he's explaining, hey, I've actually been injured for quite some time now and I've been trying to push through. Like, if he was really like injured to the point where it was a risk, AC Milan would have stepped in and wouldn't have allowed him to play. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it bullshit or truth or a little bit in between?
He didn't say that it was a risk. His statement is the pain got consecutively worse. I wasn't able to get better. Now it's time to take a break, focus on my health, and come back full force. Like, let's be honest, man. How many players, even now that we listen to ex-players on podcasts all the time, they all tell you, yeah, we played with injuries. Yeah, we just dragged them along, hoping that they would get better. So that's one of those cases, especially when every single reflector is on you, that you have to perform, that you have to do this and that. No mames, güey. Like, it makes sense. Especially because let's look at it the other way, right? If this happened and he didn't release a statement, what would we be saying? Oh, AC lo banqueó, ¿verdad? Lo sentaron por eso, por el otro, y quién sabe qué.
But this should be coming directly from the club. When there is an injury, when there is an injured player, the club is supposed to make the statement with the official, logo and everything. They usually put on their website or on Twitter. Like, Chivas do that week in, week out because we've been piling up injuries. This should not be coming from a player.
But not every team does that.
No, dude. A team at the status and prestige of Milan, you think if it was something serious, they would go on record and say, hey, he's injured, he's going to be sidelined and the player doesn't have to make any excuses for him or explain himself. Like, that should be coming from the club. For him doing a personal statement on his social media amidst all this like criticism that he's getting in the poor run of form, it just seems like a cop-out. It seems like an excuse. And, he might be, he's telling the truth probably. Like, he's probably injured and he probably has been hurt for a couple months now. But, to me, it's like, come on, bro, you're copping out right now. That's a fucking excuse.
Vitriol is at its peak for Santi, especially in like a big metropolitan area like Milan, one of the fashion capitals of the world. I think it's like Paris, Milan, New York, Vienna, right? So it's a very like metropolitan area. It's got a lot of press, and it's all bad for Santi. I don't think he's been as woeful as he's made out to be. Connects well with others. He gets into space. He's been unlucky. He's been off in other moments. And at a big club, where they demand results like AC Milan, they're big, at least historically. It's just not good enough. It's just not good enough. And I think the pressure is getting to him. And I think I don't know if I believe this. I honestly don't care. Take the time to get your shit together, bro, and then come back stronger. I'm all for that. What I'm excited for is the November call-ups. He's going to be out for those. And my boy Hormiga is red hot with 11 goals in La Liga. And so I'm excited for that.
That right there, that's the important story happening right now. Is let's take a look at the injury card that the Mexican national team has picked up in the last 2 weeks. You have Quiñones, you have Alexis, now you have Santi. And then
you lost Huescas.
You lost Raul, who's kind of coming back. He was able to put through an assist.
He played for Fulham
over the weekend.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I said, he's kind of coming back. Pero, güey, no mames, son un chingos.
Hey, the stars are aligning for Ant-Man to do something about this, but we have Tomas. Welcome.
What's up, bros? Yeah, one last thing on the Santi item there. I didn't get a chance to look at the AC Milan official word. Was there an official statement from?
It came from him.
Okay, so that to me, like Avia said, 100%. I don't believe that any player plays 100% throughout the season. Everyone has like nagging injuries at all levels, but the fact that AC Milan did not release anything, or at least I haven't seen anything. I haven't looked at their website or like their official page, but it doesn't sound like they did, is odd because you would think if you're a player on the AC Milan squad, AC Milan, their team doctor would say, don't worry about it. We will release a statement. You don't have to do anything.
Exactly.
So to me, it's almost like he's packing his bags, knowing the inevitable. Let me brush up on my Dutch because I think that might be happening. And I don't know if it's his dad or his camp, but the whole thing was a mess. Unfortunately, it seems like he's in a bad spot mentally, and just he's in a rough spot. He should have just not said anything. Just let the cards play out how they will, and get back to work. It sucks because I wanted to see him do well there, or at least at the very worst, maybe bounce to another team in Serie A because he still has a lot of technicals or just kind of a growing up to do.
So I'm on the official AC Milan website. There is no news about his injury. The latest post was about the femenil AC Milan femenil tickets. That was November 4th. There's no news about Santi Jimenez being injured.
Yeah, that kind of, to me, that kind of confirms it. Unless they issue something tomorrow or in the days upcoming, maybe. But it's unfortunate. I wanted him to seem to run. If it's any truth, I don't know. I know he says that's like his boyhood club, or he wanted to play in Serie A. Hopefully, he stays there, gets another shot to redeem himself. But like you guys mentioned, right, all these next man up. That's why it's important to have it's a numbers game to have as much talent as possible for these type of situations. Sounds like maybe Hormiga now has his time to potentially, show what he's got.
When it comes to being a striker, I feel like it's a same analogy for people that are in sales. Like, you have nothing to hide behind. Your numbers are your numbers. Like, you can't make them up. You can't just like fake your performance, and they're very clear right now on the website, on AC Milan's website. If you go to Santi Jimenez's player profile, he's played 9 out of 10 matches. He's got 627 minutes played, and he's got 0 goals on 17 shots, 41% accuracy, 7 on target, 10 off target, 4 were blocked, 1 yellow card, 22 duels won, 88 passes, 78% pass accuracy. I mean, they got his shit just out there on the website, dog. There is no escaping. There's no excuse, man. He's just not performing for AC Milan. They're probably gonna shop him in January, and he's gonna hide under this excuse of, I've been dealing with an injury for the last couple of months and I've been fuck that, dude. Own it.
Yeah, on the bright side, there is one Mexican player that's doing really well in Serie A, or at least it's Johan Vasquez. He's still balling out, so there's that, but we'll see.
And look, we'll have plenty of options to replace Santi with. Obviously, Hormiga in great form, scored against Pachuca in the most unlikely situation. That goal was very, very complicated to score off of. He also missed some easy tap-ins. He has this weird similarity to Chicharo, missing the tap-ins and then scoring some crazy goal that nobody expected him to score.
He should have had a hat trick that game, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And I'm just thinking with Hormiga, hopefully he gets a look at this November call-up. There's no excuses now, right? You don't have Santi. You don't have Quiñones. You don't have Alexis Vega. I would be outraged if he doesn't get a look in this upcoming window. They're going to have a game, I think, in Texas. I could be wrong. And then one in Mexico. So there'll be an opportunity for hopefully.
I'm convinced Santi's doing his best Diego Forlan impression, where you suck dick for Manchester United or a big team for like a really long time, and then the World Cup comes around and you get the Golden Boot. So let's hope that's what's happening and that it pays off for Santi. But it could happen in the next few months. He could get hot, right? Like I wouldn't count him out. I do think we need to play the hot hand, and right now that's Hormiga. And so maybe start Raul and then put in Hormiga or the next hot guy. But right now it's definitely that guy.
Yeah, there's still quite a few time between now and the World Cup, so there is an absolute possibility of Santi getting shopped in the winter, going to inferior league and killing it. Like he still has a chance of making it to this squad. I don't think Aguirre is going to rule him out just yet, but you can't say like this is just really bad situation for Santi. And obviously like the pressure has gotten to him, and curious to see how he recovers and what AC Milan end up doing in the month of January. Would not be surprised if he tries to go back to Feyenoord, or I don't know. We'll see. He's got a good agent, so I expect something. Let's talk about these weekend results. Why not talk about Chivas? They had a very complicated game against Pachuca, both fighting for a direct spot to Liguilla. At the time, Chivas were in 6th, Pachuca were in 7th, so just on the heels. And, Chivas had to go on the road for this one. Ended up winning decisively 1-0. And with that, they are almost, I'm going to say not 100% securing that 6th spot. Mathematically, Juarez still has a chance to leapfrog if the worst was to happen. Let's say we get pounded out by Monterrey, or Juarez pounds out Querétaro in the last match. Mathematically, Juarez could get into that 6th spot, but it all seems like Chivas will qualify directly into Liguilla and secure that 6th spot. I don't know if you guys caught the game or can just acknowledge Chivas' form. Like, how far can they go? Or is this just, as top 8 finish? Like, what are we expecting out of Chivas in Liguilla?
Semis, brother. Semis. And the only reason it might not happen, the only reason it might not happen is because our squad is thin. And we're seeing the wear and tear right now of all the fixtures. So, like, Campillo's out. I forget who else is out. Romo got a red card, so he's going to be out the next game.
Yeah.
So we don't have the deepest squad. I think we're punching a little bit above our weight, but for so much of the season we played well and lost, and now for a period of time we were playing well and winning, and now I feel like that's kind of fading a little bit. We should have had a shit ton more goals against Pachuca, and I was surprised. I shouldn't be surprised. Somos el orgullo de Mexico. But there was so many Chivas fans in Pachuca.
Yeah.
And I would think that was a fortress. I would think they would support, good working class town would support Pachuca, a little bit more faithfully. But Chivas comes in and there was a lot of support. And I thought that was interesting. But we look good. Pachuca also look good. They've really fallen. They were the leaders. I don't know if you guys remember, but they were like undefeated.
Yep.
For like the first 5 matches. So they've really fallen off. Montiel, my boy, did not feature. But Guadalajara looked good and should have scored four goals today, dude, or that day.
Not sure what's happening with Montiel. Someone needs to check in on him, because I'm worried, right? He had such a great showing last year, and like didn't really do much in the Under-20 World Cup. I feel like maybe it's time for him to leave Pachuca. It seems like they're putting all their eggs in one basket, and that is their team that they own in Spain. And I feel like this Pachuca project is kind of like self-destructing in a way.
Jaime?
Yeah.
Just one quick thing, because I'm about to get, I got a jet, got to wake up really early. 2 things. Read Rafa Ramos's his little editorial. He just posted something about Carlos Hurtado.
Okay.
Pretty interesting stuff. He made a couple points. Well, one of them is according to him, because he was talking about the instances that he had with Carlos Hurtado, but apparently, according to Rafa Ramos, is that Hurtado knew 30 minutes beforehand that the release of Romano when he was kidnapped.
Oh shit.
I mean, like, but another thing that he made a point was that for basically, him and Lara basically can control the market, but then they got pushed over with when the league got invaded with foreign promoters. So that's something to think about as well. And the other thing, because we were talking about it earlier today on Toño de Valdez's podcast yesterday, he had Toño Moreno, which we were speaking about him earlier today about Cachirules. I actually watched it, and he goes into good information about Cachirules and how he came about and found out. So
Cool.
I'll post that in the chat. All right, guys. Good night.
Thank you, Ron, for joining us.
I do have one question though.
Yeah.
If America finishes second or first, are they still in crisis?
I don't know who's been saying they're in crisis. Definitely not me.
No, it is. They're still in crisis, according to some.
Nah, I think that's just the media blowing smoke.
Who do you think's gonna be first?
It's a good question, right? Because Cruz Azul, their Cruz Azulada is inevitable. They might end up, I don't know what the matches are this weekend. Let me take a look real quick. But I still think, regardless if Cruz Azul finishes in first, they're not gonna win the league. I'm telling you right now, they're not winning the league.
So you're telling me to prepare my memes?
Yeah, dude, it's so funny.
Right.
Their fall off is hilarious. But Toluca America, I mean, we're getting a preview of what could be the final on Saturday.
I think that it's going to be in the final. I think it's going to be Ahmed against one of the Monterrey teams. That's what I think.
I like it.
I think Toluca's starting to show some things that I'm not liking.
Yeah.
And I don't think that Cruz Azul is going to be able to keep the place that they have.
Yeah.
So I mean, I kind of have a feeling that it's going to be Ame with one of the Monterrey teams.
I think a big L for Toluca was losing Vega. I mean, he might return for Liguilla, but he did get injured, and that's huge firepower that they're losing. That could be the beginning of Toluca's downfall, because they were my team. I honestly thought they were gonna return to the final and defend their title. So we'll see what happens in Liguilla.
All right, guys, take it easy.
Take it easy, Ron. Good stuff. I just want to piggyback off Ron real quick, and that is I did read the Rafa Ramos article and I posted it in our chat. And so just to summarize it real quickly, so he touches on who is this guy, right? And he's a secret powerful guy who's been running Mexican soccer for 40 years, nicknamed the Godfather of Miami, controls player deals, coaches, referees, and even some newspapers. Damn. Right? And then he said his biggest partner was Billy Alvarez, who is now in jail since January 2025 for corruption. #BillyGate. Hurtado was never charged, right? You mystery man, right? So it pays off to be in the shadows, I guess. Go ahead.
It's when I'm reading this, I'm thinking of in my background, in the back of my brain, I'm thinking I got that music from Swordfish. Did you guys ever watch that movie Swordfish with John Travolta, where he's he's in the shadows, but he controls us a lot. And it's when they're, what's that?
Halle Berry. That's the only reason I know about Swordfish is Halle Berry scene.
So yeah, so when the guys are trying to get information about this guy, one of the tech guys, obviously, he ends up getting killed, but he's he lives in a world beyond your world, and that's kind of how they have him, Hurtado, they have this the mystery man. I think it's hilarious anyhow. But anyways, good night, guys.
Okay, good night, Ron. But just to finish off on this thing real quick. All right, so Ramos talks about a phone call where Hurtado knew Rafa's private home phone number, called him and talked to him for hours about coaches, but he knew Rafa's number without Rafa giving it to him. He helped. He told Billy's secretary, Carlos Hurtado sent me, and then he made the interview with Billy happen. So like after having a few conversations with him, in which he mysteriously received calls from the Miami man, he facilitated a move to meet Billy, right? And then what's it called? In the press box, he bumped into Hurtado. This is the last time he ever saw him. Rafa Ramos said that it was interesting that he bumped into him in the press box because he had no credentials. This guy walked around the stadium with no credentials. That's weird as fuck to me because everywhere you go, security guards like, where's your fucking 2-3 badges? I only see one badge. You need two. I see 2 badges, but one of them only has 1 sticker on it. So
Yeah, no, there's the very VIP. So those guys don't need badges. But we don't need no stinking badges.
so
I've seen a few. That just to piggyback off what you're saying really quick. I've seen a few people walk into the press.
Yeah, I've seen it too. I used to do some games, and I would go up to some people. And they literally a guy above me would tell me, no, he's okay, let him go, or don't bother this guy.
It's all about who you know. Albert, did you have something to add on this guy?
No, I just I don't know if I also heard we were naming promoters. There's this other guy. He has an American name, but he was also part of the those guys that Hector Huerta would always throw subliminals at. His name is Greg Taylor, and Greg Taylor was also on Picante, and I think Jose Ramon grilled him for an hour, like telling him what was his influence. And I know for a fact, I know of a player who he would not only get these guys jobs when they were players, he would also get them jobs in the media. So that's where like these promoters get get this access to the media because they fucking put people in there and they as their mouthpieces to promote their players, to do shit like that. So this guy was Greg Taylor.
So yeah, I remember Greg Taylor, but I had mentioned earlier, like I remember an interview when Fútbol Picante had Jose Manuel Sanz. He's a Spanish promoter. Hugo Sanchez uses them and stuff like that. But for the longest time, they were saying that, Sanz and Hugo Sanchez were basically in cahoots, charging their own players for playing time. In fact, if you guys recall, what's his name? Horacio.
Yeah, Horacio, his own nephew, yeah.
his own nephew was basically, doing that. But he ended up being a dud and, no receipts, no nothing, right? And I remember that, Hector Huerta used to he used to repeat that over and over and over. But finally, when he had the promoter, on the hot seat right there, Fútbol Picante, it's like he ended up being a bitch because he kept asking he kept asking these questions. Jose Manuel Sanz answered them directly. And there's no, but what about this guy or that like that? It was just like he was like, oh shit, I'm out of my league. It's like he had one of those like it was pathetic. It really was pathetic because if he would have had the receipts that he claimed he had, he could have owned him, but it is what it is. But you're right. Like I said, they probably should make a series about this guy.
So you guys
spin-off.
So you guys interrupted me before I said the biggest flex about this guy. So he bumps into him with no credentials in the press box, and he tells Rafa Ramos before it's announced publicly that the coach that was kidnapped, Romano, is going to be released later that day, and it became true.
Damn.
So how the hell does the promoter know that this guy's going to be released?
But we had connection to cartels. Him and Lara.
And then he finishes off with a big joke about Hurtado. He says, a friend asked him, you should write a book. And Hurtado laughed. I have one, but if I publish it, Mexican soccer is finished.
Oh, shit.
It's almost like Dave Chappelle skit. The 3 times he met, what was that football player that killed his wife?
OJ?
Yeah. 3 times he met OJ.
I was
That's
thinking,
around.
I was thinking of the Flamengo
Mr. Juice.
player, the goalkeeper.
Damn.
Flamingo goalkeeper. What? What are we talking about, Ron? Supposed to be asleep, way.
He's been saying goodnight for the last
Close
hour
already.
now.
It's getting juicy. It's getting juicy.
I don't know about Flamengo goalkeeper, way. I don't. That's refresh my memory, dude. I don't.
You asked who's the player that killed his wife. I'm thinking not American football. I'm thinking like footy. And he played for
Bruno Fernandez de
Flamengo.
Souza.
Yeah. In fact, I remember if you guys Google him, he was the goalkeeper when Ame beat them 3-0 in the Maracanã. And there's a clip, at least the Americanistas, we remember this, where the Global TV or the reporters, they basically go to him after the game, hey, in Portuguese, they ask him something and he starts crying. He starts crying. It was just hilarious, because they just got their asses handed by Cabañas and I want to say it was Cabañas and I forget the El Paleta Esquerra. I think they're the ones that scored. But anyhow, all right, guys. Any more Hurtado talk, or is that it?
Oh,
That was
wow.
all I had. But I just quickly read the Rafa Ramos one. I to read it quickly, I had to translate it into English. I'm embarrassed. I would have read it in Spanish, but I wanted to read it quickly.
Another one that was pretty. He had two videos out. El Fantasma, I forget his name, the reporter.
Yeah, El Fantasma. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if you Google him, he spoke about Hurtado by himself, and then he was on a podcast with 2 other guys, and also talking about Hurtado and stuff like that. And again, like I said, the Fantasma doesn't really speak too well of him, and that's fine. Like I said, I mean, the guy, I've heard great things about the guy, and I've heard bad things about the guy. So, I mean, honestly, I do hope that now that he's passed and stuff like that, I do hope that a lot of the stories come out, because, like I said, I think they'd be very fascinating.
For sure, folks. Dialing it back to Liga MX, one thing I'm looking forward to with this last fixture of the regular season, looking into Chivas Monterrey, we're looking at 2 coaches head to head. Dominic Torrent, one of the coaches that was rumored to coach Chivas, right? In the end, they went with Milito. So I'm really looking forward to this chess match and seeing who wins and who sits on top. And Albert, I'm gonna mute you, bro. Your mic's going crazy. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this matchup between Torrent and Milito. I think Milito has the chance of upsetting Monterrey, and securing that 6th spot. It won't affect Monterrey too much. They've been qualified to the playoffs. They're in 5th place right now. They could jump to 4th and have a better, home field advantage. But that's dependent on Tigres and how they do this weekend too. So, even though the top 5 spots are already locked in for Liguilla, there's still a lot to fight for in this final fixture. Who's going to have bragging rights as the super leader, and who's going to have the upper hand in the home and away, situation. And then who is Chivas going to, potentially play against in the playoffs? Right now, if things were to end this way, we would have a super clásico on our hands, America versus Chivas. But a lot can happen in the last fixture.
All right. With all that being said, I would like to bring back a little bit of attention to the scenario that you mentioned earlier that would leave Chivas on the lower half of classification.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just take a look at this. All right. You're going against, what are they, number 4 in the league as of right now? Number 5 in the league. So it is very likely that those cheeks do get clapped by Monterrey. All right. Now, the other matchup that you said is Juárez versus Querétaro.
Yep.
Right? Juárez has been putting in the work. They've been fucking inspired. In fact, they have a pretty fucking impressive record so far of how their season's turning out. So come on, man. You have to give them some props for that. They have 6 wins, 5 draws, and 5 losses. All right. So han estado metiendo la pipa left and right. So the odds of that playing out doesn't bode well for Chivas. Now, the biggest thing is going to be the goal difference, right? As of right now, Guadalajara sits at 5 plus 5, while Juarez sits at 0.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be the saving grace for you guys, because if Juarez wins, they tie the amount of points that you guys have at 26. And then it comes down to goal difference as to how it is that everything's going to play out. Now, Monterrey has plus 6 goals. All right. So you know they're going to score on you at least once. So let's see by how many it is that Juarez wins and how interesting it is that this last stretch gets. Now,
We've been a thorn on Monterrey's side, though. It's not like they've dominated us or had goleadas.
Yeah,
see,
we
wait,
usually
pero
beat
you're
them
going in
regular
without
season.
your best defense.
I understand, but you act like they've been our boogeyman. In retrospect, honestly, it's been like Pachuca. Pachuca has always been a thorn on our side, but we've always been a thorn on the side for Monterrey. Like, we actually do better when we're on the road against them.
Look, I'm not talking about history. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about how this season is playing out right now. All right? The form that Monterrey is in, the way that they're playing, fucking A, man. The last 2 match weeks, they go a man down and still find a way to put in fucking great performances.
All I'm gonna say, man, about Monterrey is that they got slow ass fucking defenders in Medina and Sergio Ramos, and then Moreno off the bench. Like, so Hormiga can exploit these guys, man. So I'm looking forward to the matchup. They have a lot of quality, but they always underperform, and they're like the Chemos. They're fucking losers.
Sure thing, buddy. You're talking about the team that shat the bed in the last 10 minutes of a final? Come on, man. And just to make it clear, the only final that you've been to in 10 plus years.
Brother, the Chemos shot the bed 20 years in a row, dude. Come on. No,
Hey, you know what? You have to make it to the finals to be there. And you guys consistently miss out on it.
I don't know why Chemos puff their chest. They're always getting their shit pushed in by America. They're always choking in finals.
Seattle Sounders. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I don't know where this chest puffing comes from.
The spanking was so bad that
It comes from having aguante. Now, really quickly, hold on. If you want to talk about the Seattle thing, let's take this in hand. And I mentioned it when it happened. We went into Seattle that plays on a synthetic turf.
Oh, wow.
Right? Now, hold on really quickly.
Oh, el pinche turf. Como chingas, güey.
The only game that Cruz Azul has lost this entire season is ¿cuál? A ver, dime.
TJ?
The only other stadium that plays
It doesn't matter
with
what you
turf
do in the regular
Mexico.
season, bro. You guys are not winning the league. I'm telling you right now. You guys aren't winning the fucking league, dog. You're gonna spread those cheeks.
¿Cuánto pinche humble pie vas a estar tragando? Pero no hay pedo.
Listen, Chivas got nothing to lose because nobody expected us to get directly into Liguilla. So whatever we do after this is a bonus. But Cruz Azul is
no
like...
one expects anything out of Chivas at any point.
I tell you the truth, I didn't even expect Melito would be on the team this far into the season.
So I guess the key is when you consistently shit the bed and the bar is so low for you, everything's a win, right?
But I don't know, but Cruz Azul, like it's like they think they're like a Tigre, they think they're America, and it's like they're constantly shitting the bed. I don't get it. Like I said, I just don't get it.
Mira, señor, para estar constantemente peleando los 12 rounds, tienes que ser un contendor al campeonato.
Pero te dan verguizas cada pelea, ¿no? Those que, compete. Like I see it with some boxers. Oh, look at his resume. Yeah, but he fucking lost 7 of those fucking fights.
So the thing about Cruz Azul is that even their president sold them out, bro. Even the president was like, "Fuck these guys, let me make my money, dude." So like, not even the owner / leader would like believe in Cruz Azul because he was the first, to betray them.
Hold on. Let's not start talking about La Cooperativa and Billy, porque eso es todo un pinche desmadre separado, güey. All right, like let's start off with that. All right, let's start about the fact that they kill each other every single time that there's a labor protest over at Hidalgo. All right, like let's not talk about those things because the way that side of the business is ran is completely different.
So our owner sucks, man. We have like this Ponzi scheme, fake magic powder sellers for owners at Chivas, man. But I'll take that over whatever the fuck Billy Alvarez is, man. So
hence why he got booted out with a vote of no confidence.
20 years too late, bro.
Pero bueno, como les dije, van a ver putos y cuánto pinche humble pie van a estar tragando. This is sounding a whole lot like the fucking Mission Tortilla argument that we had last week, and I'm still out here standing on business waiting for these apologies to start rolling in.
Maíz blanco, dude, all day.
I did get some tortillas from Walmart, and yeah, they were great. Thank you for that recommendation. I don't really eat tortillas de harina though, so it's mainly the corn ones that I'm.
Hey, if there's a Cardenas near where you are, they have magnific yellow corn tortillas. Oh, those are fucking those fucking hit.
Ves, pinche Albert, you are a man of culture and knowledge.
Mag, what?
No, son tortillas de maíz amarillo. They come out. You know why they come out a little more yellow? Because they put a little more of that lime, that fucking the shit they put on the fields. So it comes a little more yellow, and they fucking hit. They hit better than the white corn.
Wait,
bro, yellow corn fucking slaps so hard.
Fuck GMO corn, bro. White corn all day, dog.
White corn.
What's the brand of the tortilla you're talking about?
Oh, me no, it's a store brand. If there's a Cardenas, I think there's some in the Bay Cardenas.
Just like the Cardenas ones.
Cardenas Market, but they're I think them in Vallartas, they're like the only tortillerias that carry the yellow and the white.
Oh, I see.
Oh, but you know what? You haven't had a fucking tortilla until you had a fucking blue tortilla off the fucking comal with a fucking guisado. Oh God. That's a fucking tortilla, blue fucking tortilla. Woo.
Now, really quickly, the last thing I'm going to say about this is this whole, oh, no, pues, I don't need tortillas de harina like that. ¿Quién sabe qué? This just sounds like some norteño versus gente de provincia type shit.
I don't know, dude. I only eat tortillas de harina with like burritos. I don't really eat like when I eat regular food. It's just tortillas de maíz, bro. Always.
If you're ever in Vegas and discovered a burrito spot that they make their own fucking tortillas, fucking phenomenal. It's in the fucking ghetto, but it's fucking they make their and they make the burritos, but they make it like Mexican style, así como chiquitos. They're fucking phenomenal. It's called Burritos Durango. Oh, fucking phenomenal.
Oh, okay.
All right. For all of our Latinx out here, all of our pochos, and even those few gringos that we have listening to us, here's a lesson that I'm going to drop on all of you. If you want good tacos, you have to risk a stabbing. All right?
Yeah. Entre más violento el barrio, mejor los tacos.
A huevo, güey. Ya sabes, mientras más corriente, más ambiente.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's the rule. If you're not risking your life for some good, authentic Mexican food, it's not the real deal, bro. If there aren't gunshots next to the liquor store, next door to where you're getting your little taco truck from, it ain't it.
I think that's a universal truth, though. All the best food it's always going to be in the hood.
Yeah. Everywhere you go. Yeah.
When I was
the tables need to be bolted to the ground. That type of shit.
When I was dating my wife, I'm like, hey, look, I'm going to take you to places that are smack, but I'm not gonna lie, they're in sketchy places, so just, judge-free zone here. Just keep an open mind, and yeah, they hit for sure. But yeah, you gotta keep your eyes peeled for sure.
Like in TJ, you have the tourist trap places like Frank and El Rey and stuff like that, but you got to go into like the neighborhoods to fucking find the good shit.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I should have asked for more recommendations when I went to the Ciudad de Mexico, because I just went to the the touristy spots, the Tacos Orinaco. It was good, but I'm sure there were better spots.
Like, you know what? On TripAdvisor, there's like local tours. Like you get a tour like from a local that he'll take. Like you could go like to the hoods to fucking get tacos, or he'll take you to a fucking mercado where they say that you shouldn't go by yourself. Like so you could like unless you have family or friends, that's a good option. Like get one of those fucking local tours.
About Mexico City, the best taco I had was a taco de canasta early in the morning, bro.
Oh, those fucking hit, man. Woo!
Some fool sold it to me on a bike, dude. And
well, you know how they do them, no? Los llenan de chicharrón de papas y luego calientan la tortilla and they do one layer. Then on that layer le ponen es como si fueran enchiladas, but not really. Es como grasita enchilada. And then they fucking layer them y luego los tapan con plástico and they take them out to the fucking for the world to enjoy them.
Y luego newspaper on the top. If it doesn't have the newspaper, they ain't the real deal, bro.
Hey, but there's one thing that you shouldn't eat in Ciudad de Mexico, los tacos de barbacoa. Dicen que es de perro. Seriously, I've heard it from a lot of people. Do not have barbacoa in Ciudad de Mexico.
Or suadero. Hence why the name is Suaperro.
Suaperro.
Guaperro.
Yo,
also, I've never had like good tortilla de harina in Ciudad de Mexico. I'm team tortilla de harina, so I don't know.
Well, honestly, the tortillas de harina, it's more of a northern thing. Like when you go to Sonora, Sonora, and even Baja California, they do a lot of
Nuevo León.
Yeah. Oh, Chihuahua, exactly, Chihuahua,
yeah.
Por eso me puse a pelear con un taquero that he was telling me that like quesadillas sin queso. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro?
Nah, bro, fuck him up. Like, you should have just flipped over his whole cart.
Lo que es Ciudad de Mexico y Mérida, Yucatán, it's like they're like they say they're in another server. It's like it's their own fucking land.
So the thing about the norteños is that they have like the meat down. Like there's like less meat in the south. So like if you're gonna go north,
well, because there's more scarcity in the south. There's more scarcity. Like I went to Yucatan, and honestly, they had nothing but beef because there's really no cattle, no beef. And then in the north, obviously, there's more money and there's more cows. So the especialmente la carne asada is more of a northern thing.
Yeah, Mexico City is a dividing line.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And it's like you get the there's like a deep love for not you don't find as much beef, but
and el DF and the Ciudad de Mexico, there's a deep love for fucking stuffing anything into a fucking bolillo. They'll fucking do anything in a bolillo, even fucking ceviche.
Yeah, I had the guajolote in Mexico City. Yeah.
I can't do carbs. I'm diabetic, so I can't do fucking carbs on carbs. That'll fucking kill me.
What's the corn smut called? The huachiloche or something?
Which the one with the mushroom, the fungus, yeah.
Huitzlacoche.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's good, brother. It's good. It's like a parasite takes over a corn and it turns it like soft and it's like worth more than like, I don't know, caviar, in certain markets.
Damn.
So, it's really good. It's called Huitzlacoche.
Yeah, Huitzlacoche, yeah.
All right, since we're slandering El DF, the one thing that I had last time that I was there that just sent me into a fucking fit of rage was tamales dulces, way.
You don't like them?
No,
for postre, bro.
I had uno de fresa, güey, y me encabroné como no tienes idea. I was like, what the fuck is this?
I think it's fucked up if you're expecting a savory like tamal and then you find out it's sweet. Like, I understand that, but if you were told ahead of time, hey, this is like a postre, tamal, then that's fine.
I had both way, and I still got pissed. I was like, nah, hombre, güey, no mames, qué pendejada es esta. Like, I would expect it from the gringos up north, pero aquí, güey, no mames.
Hey, you know who has good tamales de dulce? This is in Guadalajara. I went to Canelo's brother's taco shop, and they sell tamales on the side. They're uno de, what's it called? San Zamora? It was pretty good.
The cranberry way?
Yeah, it was good. San Zamora, I don't know what it is, but it tasted good.
Yeah, that's cranberry.
This
Oh,
reminds me,
shit.
I was getting some beers with my uncle, and we're crossing this parking lot in the Superior, and this lady who's selling tamales, she hits us up. She's like, hey, you want to buy some of these tamales? And she starts listing off all the kinds she has. And my uncle goes, either chivo? And she looks at my uncle like, what the fuck did you just say to me? And I didn't understand it. I'm a pocho. But cuando te sirven algo de chivo, it means you're going to cheat on your husband. You're about to, be unfaithful.
Oh.
And so when my uncle said that to her, like the double meaning was like, hey, let's fuck around. And,
Oh, wow.
She looked at him like, I'm gonna fucking slap you, and then she just left.
That's funny.
Oh.
El albur mexicano way. You'll never beat it.
You know what? Talking about albur, when I was a kid, I would help out my. I was like 13. I would help out my uncle. He had a panaderia, and some man came and asked for fucking empanadas de calabazaco, and I fucking go and I asked the fucking the panadero, oh, que empanadas de calabazaco. Y dice, ay, mijo, te pendejearon. But anyways,
That's funny. Well, we have again one more jornada and all to fight for in the last one. Cruz Azul in first place with 35 points. Who'd you guys play over the weekend, Abdias?
Puebla.
Oh, you guys pushed their shit in for sure.
Fuck yeah, 3-0.
Yeah.
And Charlie showed why he's on the national team, which I still have doubts, but a fucking beautiful pass that he put in. Like, amazing. And now we're going against El Chiqui Grande, Pumas, which...
Ooh, that's going to be interesting because you guys are borrowing their house.
We're moving it to El Cuauhtémoc.
Why is that?
That way they don't have their home field advantage. That way they feel uncomfortable. That's the same thing that happened last tournament, last time that we played. We changed venue to El Cuauhtémoc.
That doesn't make sense because you guys have a good record in El Estadio Olímpico. So why would you? Was it your call or was it Pumas saying, "Hey, no, you're not allowed to do that in my bed"?
It's Cruz Azul's call, but you know what? It would be fun to fuck them in their own bed.
That's what I'm saying.
I think it's because Cruz Azul is scared, man. Pumas won 4-1 against Cholos.
Nah, they're not scared. They're not scared.
They might be getting hot. They might be. JJ Macias scored.
Oh my god!
Supposed to be dead.
Which I'm surprised that he's back, man.
Can you, if you guys do me a favor, next on Saturday, just take him out of his misery, dog. Just fucking do a Trinidad and Tobago tackle estilo Cuauhtémoc on JJ Mack and just put him out of his misery, dog.
He has more goals than Maxine.
He does.
He has more goals than America's
Bomba.
top signing.
Wow,
Yeah.
you chose to get spicy cuando no está aquí, Ron.
French bonbon.
But we just got to this topic. Yeah, and he's playing on one leg. I would rather have him than Chichabuelo. I would switch him up.
That's crazy,
Chichabuelo
dog.
can still zoom in
Look,
Hormiga if he wants.
JJ Mack does not score 4 goals playing for Chivas. I'm telling you.
Bro, JJ Mack already has more goals than Chichabuelo. No mames.
No, I'm saying if you take JJ Mack, if you take him right now and put him on Chivas, he doesn't score those 4 goals.
He was scoring before he got injured.
Wait, you want to know what's the wild thing? Take the same time frame that Chichabuelo has been at Chivas versus JJ Mack. JJ Mack has more goals and more injuries than Chicha.
But one thing one thing that you can't calculate is all the whispering that Chicharito does to Hormiga, and it influences his goal count.
Oh, really? Because when I brought that up last week,
No, I'm just
estaban
fucking
de
kidding.
que
Dude.
no, que quién sabe
I'm
qué.
kidding, dog. I'm just joking. No.
Oh, no, but it's true. Le está lavando el coco, güey. Le está lavando el coco al chavito, and just wait.
As
Next
long as he
step-
doesn't give him any marital advice, we're good.
Nah, bro, Dreyfus is going to get in there.
Then again, he might be one of those self-partner type of people. You know, Hormiga's on the spectrum, bro. He's not thinking about bitches right now.
Bro, you know Hormiga sleeps with like a full body anime pillow.
No, in costume.
Like
To be
he's
honest,
full,
man, keep that kid away from
Yeah.
the club scene of Guadalajara. Like, let him,
Do
let
not-
him watch give him his animes, give him his Pokemon and his shit. Just let him.
Do not
let
corrupt him.
focus.
Do not allow him to taste pussy. Just, keep him innocent. Keep him
Bro,
in La La Land.
the biggest threat to Hormiga is for him to go to an anime convention. Like that's the biggest threat to his career.
He goes to Comic-Con, he's not coming out, bro. He's they're gonna have to drag him out.
You know what? That's why he can't go to the national team way, because he's gonna get his papers.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna get a visa, and next thing you know, he's gonna pop up at San Diego Comic Con.
Yeah, one of the guys gonna introduce him to hentai. It's gonna be over.
Nah, way. It's gonna be worse. It's gonna be in one of those like infamous like San Diego Comic Con orgies that happen all the time.
So-
And if y'all don't know, now you know.
Mexico will be coming to San Antonio for the Paraguay match on November 18th. So he might go to South by Southwest and then again not come back.
Now, really quickly, whoever said tentacles, it's called Ika. All right.
I don't
And
know.
for those of you, it's Bad Dragon. It has a name. Its name is Ika. All right. Come
Nerd
on,
alert.
guys.
Nerd alert.
Sure, buddy.
We are going to have an international break, and I don't know how that looks like for Liga, because one of my only downsides of qualifying directly to Liga is just the amount of time it takes to get it going, because there's going to be a play-in, right? So you got to wait for these fucking losers to fight it out amongst themselves, and then you have the Liga that really kicks off. And I think that downtime could be detrimental to teams that are in the moment. And you cannot deny that Chivas are in the moment right now, and having to sit on the sidelines for a couple weeks is not going to help them. I don't know when Liga kicks off, because I'm assuming that after this fixture, after this regular season, they're going to do the play-in, and then there's the international break. So we might not even see Liga action until December. Like, that's fucking crazy.
This sounds a whole lot like my Gordiwapa argument.
Which is?
Okay, you have to be careful with the Gordiwapas. They come from behind y te meten el dedo por el culo.
Yeah, I don't know. They haven't released the schedule yet. Obviously, they're going to have to wait until everybody gets qualified and all that. But I have a feeling that, yeah, Liga is not going to kick off until after the international break, which is a very long time from now.
I mean, they did it last year. That's the same thing that happened. There was that long ass break between the international, because of the international window. And if I remember correctly, I want to say after Cruz Azul got bounced out, Anselmi talked about it. Was it Anselmi who was coach at that time? I can't even remember at this point right now, but they talked about it, and he said, it's like, look, we've been stopped for a month and a half. All right. Because first off, we had the international window.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had the play-in. Then we had like that weird, like kind of like bye week that there is. And then we played. Like, we've been stopped. Your top four have been stopped for the past month and a half. Like, it's some bullshit.
That is bullshit.
It's
It's like, what's the benefit of working hard and being consistent all season if going into the playoffs, you're kind of like at a disadvantage, because all these teams that have the play-in had to play 2 or 3 times to get to this moment. They're in form. It's like that's not fair.
Yeah, exactly. And it gives you an unfair advantage.
I'm looking at the tickets for this match. They're pretty accessible. I'm surprised. It seems like it's not going to sell well.
Which match are we talking about?
The friendly in San Antonio.
Come on, bro. It's San Antonio. The amount of illegals that there are in there, they're all worried about ICE.
I don't know about all that.
No, trust me. I'm from the area. There's a shit ton of mojaditos up there.
Let's take a look at these fixtures for the last match of the regular season. Juarez, we talked about them earlier against Querétaro. I could see this being a high scoring game. Hopefully it's not, and Chivas secure their 6th spot. Tijuana playing against Atlas. Rifaldo, do you have some information about Gil Mora? He's injured. He's not playing right now.
He fractured his hand, so he's going to be out for a month, maybe 2 months. So he's definitely missing out on this November window, which is fucking lame. Because I wanted to see him, not just because I want him to incorporate himself into the senior national team, but because during the official FIFA windows, EAFC updates the Mexico roster, and so I would have been able to play as him in the FIFA game. So I'm really disappointed that he's going to miss out. We'll see who they come up with. In other news, Marcelo Flores is possibly going to make the switch to Canada. Frankly, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, who gives a shit? As long as his sister's still around, that's all that matters.
Su hermana, güey.
Hey, but now, hasn't Marcelo already played for Mexico in an official game? He can't do the one-time switch, can he?
Yeah, he can. It's until they play in the final.
I think it was a friendly in which he played, and so it has to be like an official competition or match.
Bruh. I typed in Marcelo Flores like in Google, and then the immediate try to fill it in with sister. I'm like, come on, Google.
Now, really quickly, talking about Tatiana, güey, to be 15 y que te la estés jalando tan duro que you fracture your hand,
bro, stop.
Man, what it is to be young again. Pinche Gil acá putting in the extra time. Because let's be real, how else did he fracture his hand? The fuck is he doing?
Reports say that it happened during training, so maybe he was helping out one of his comrades, one of his teammates.
That's very.
Wait, doing a stranger? Okay.
I think it's.
Who knows, man?
I think it's weird that. Because I swear I thought he had already played in an official match.
Nah, man, it was a friendly. And even then, look up the exact rules for the one-time switch. I believe it's more of if you play a final.
No, not a final. It's official match, like an official tournament. Like say it's Gold Cup or World Cup qualifiers. You're not allowed to switch after that. So yeah, it looks like he never played. Because I saw him debut
against Chile.
Yeah,
and it was a friendly. It was a 2-2 draw, and then he appeared. He appeared in the CONCACAF Nations League match against Suriname, officially cap tying him to Mexico. However, he is still eligible for a one-time switch in June 2025, as he meets requirements of no more than 3 caps.
Oh, that's why.
Which were, yeah. So you have to have 3 caps, I guess, before you're the age of 21.
Look, I have no problem with him switching to Canada. I really don't give a fuck at this point. I mean, look, he might still pan out. He's a young kid, but it doesn't matter. We're not losing anything of quality.
Just another example of young players going to Tigres to die.
For real though.
I do love the talk on his sister because it's like the last I heard of it, it's like a Hillary Swank rendition where it's like people are debating if she's hot or not.
Oh my god.
So not everyone agrees about Diaz.
Whoever is debating that she's not hot is a potential homosexual. I'm just putting that out there.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why are you talking shit about Chumel Torres?
Who?
Pinches pochos, güey. Chumel Torres.
You're going to have to put it in the chat or something, bro.
All right. Hold on. Let me give you a little bit of context. Last week, he was complaining about, or 2 weeks ago, he was complaining about how his whole timeline was images of Sabrina Carpenter and this and that.
Oh.
And some guy like clapped back at him. And the answer that Chumel came up with was, Mi reina, he visto a dos hombres chupando verga menos gay que tú. And everyone ran with, wait, you've seen two men sucking dick, and yet you're complaining about Sabrina Carpenter. And then a couple of days ago, when what's it called? Sydney Sweeney broke the internet with her see-through dress.
Mm-hmm.
That ignited a whole nother wave where he kept getting tagged as like, people see this and would rather watch two men sucking dick at Chumel Torres.
Oh my God. Yeah. Anytime I see like Twitter go viral with like certain things, I'm always in the back of my head asking, what are they trying to hide from us? Like what happened that actually impacts us that they're trying to cover up? Because this is the coincidence is, I don't know, questionable.
Women empowerment. That's what happened. Because trust me, Sydney definitely found her power.
Mm-hmm. Mazatlan will play Necaxa on Friday. So we have 3 Friday matches: Juárez, Querétaro, Tijuana, Atlas, and Mazatlan, Necaxa. You know, honestly, like I want to support the Wrexham or Welcome to Necaxa project. You know, I like the fact that we have like Deadpool and Rob Mack and Eva Longoria like trying to make it happen in Liga MX. So for their sake, I hope, you know, Necaxa does better. I know that they beat Santos, which was kind of questionable. Like the fact that Santos just really gave up. But Santos actually climbed back into 11th position. Necaxa is now in 15th, and they're already talking about Fernando Gago getting fired. If not, he already got fired. I'm not sure, but they're already talking about replacing him. So that just goes to show the current status of Necaxa. Tigres will play San Luis on Saturday. It's a good opportunity for Tigres to climb up higher in the table and get one over Rayados. Chivas will play Rayados on Saturday. They're playing at 3 o'clock, which I think is weird. And León Puebla on Saturday. Really, the only match, well, there's 2 matches on Saturday that everybody should be watching. The Toluca America, because that's a preview to what could be a really good semi or a really good final. Obviously, America want to get some revenge on Toluca. So that's definitely the match to watch on Saturday. And then concluding that one will be Cruz Azul versus Pumas. I called it the Clásico Capitaliano, and everybody gave me shit because it's supposed to be what, Cruz Azul America or something? What's the Pumas America, right? That's what they call it. Clásico, the capital Clásico.
Really quickly, we're gonna sound it out together. Capitalino.
Thank you.
But yeah, that's the Pumas versus America. America versus Cruz Azul is El Clásico Joven. And honestly, all that you know what I would call it is El Clásico de Drogadictos. When we're referring to Cruz Azul versus Pumas. El Clásico de los Desempleados would be another one. You know, or just call it simply what it is, güey. El Clásico de los Pobres.
Clásico de Nacos, güey. No mames, güey. Los de Pumas.
¿Sabes qué, güey? Me gusta ese más.
Los de Pumas, like, there's so many cringe moments in like Pumas' like fan base. When Nico Castillo, that guy got a tattoo of Nico Castillo, and then he got a photo with him, and Nico is just looking like so. It's like the most awkward photo ever. Like, bro, this is a grown ass man got a tattoo of me. I'm not gonna be playing here much longer. And then like the uncle with his nephew and the Goya chant while they're crying. Oh, dude, that's just.
Don't forget the kid with the Sharpie beard that got baptized in beer.
Oh yeah.
The
one was amazing,
proposal.
though. That one was dope though. Don't trash that one. Come on, guys.
The proposal that happened and then concluded with a Goya.
Yeah.
That was another good one.
Yeah, dude. That's Pumas fans are really something.
My personal favorite is the uncle with his nephew, bro. Who's like,
I know, bro.
El niño más niño de Ciudad Seu.
Just when when the uncle starts grown ass man crying, bro, I'm just like, oh, bro, this is secondhand
Cántale,
embarrassment.
mijo, cántale.
Yeah, and look, I kind of had a preview to this match when they came over here to Sacramento. They played during the international break. Cruz Azul dominated Pumas, and I honestly expect the same on Saturday.
I do as well. Now, very quickly, let's talk about this. The fact that Aaron Ramsey has officially rescinded his contract with Pumas.
Oh, thank you for bringing that up.
Like, no mames, well, we kind of talked about it last week. Todo el desmadre que pasó con su perrito. And now we talked earlier about how that dog is probably turned into barbacoa or suadero tacos. So he just had to get out of the city, man.
Oh, full circle on that joke. God damn, dog. You imagine if they're like, hey, Aaron, we have good news and we have bad news. The good news is we found your dog. The bad news is, remember those tacos that we gave you the other day? Yeah, that was your pet.
But they were fucking delicious, weren't they?
But they were fucking bomb, weren't they?
You didn't know. You couldn't taste it. But yeah.
Chauncey would have wanted it this way. He would have wanted to go out in that manner.
Ay, pinche México, güey. Nunca cambies.
Hey, look, is he a bitch for doing that, though? Like, being objective here? Like, I understand why people take pets to, like, another level, right? Like, I grew up in an environment where I saw dogs on roofs, okay? So, to me, the way I see a dog is not like the way America sees a dog or, first world countries see dogs. I just see dogs as dogs, man. They're supposed to be outside. They're supposed to be your home security, right? You never let them inside the house. You didn't fucking put clothes on them. They ate whatever was scraps on the floor, right? Like your tortillas. My grandma used to wake up and make like a broth with like bones and tortillas and leche, and that's what the fucking dogs ate, dog. Like they didn't have pet food, they didn't have all this like organic or grass fed. No, they just ate whatever was available. So I see dogs in a different light. I love dogs, and I love them. Absolutely love. I'm a dog person, but you have to separate the fact that they're not a human, they're not a person. And you have to make that line in the sand. Like you have to just have that distinction.
It's a mental illness, brother. It's a mental illness.
That talk, bro. Talk that talk. You don't keep the fucking dog food in the fridge with regular people food. Let's start off there. Second, you don't take them into a restaurant. And third, you don't let your bitch take the knot. Like, come on, bro.
So, I think a lot of people in Mexico did not have sympathy for this guy because they're like, dude, you're over here crying about your lost dog. I understand there's a reward out there for him, but it's like, I lost a child or I lost a family member or, like people go missing every day in Mexico, and like this is just not something that you should be crying about in Mexico. It's not the right audience. And it's unfortunate that it happened, and it's unfortunate they didn't have any video or don't have any answers for him. And he doesn't have that closure. But to like straight up say, I'm going to leave Mexico and cancel my contract with my team because this is so like, this affects me so deeply. It's a bitch move, bro. I think it's a bitch move.
It is, especially when you take into account the news that we were just talking about at the beginning of this episode, right? The fact that we just found multiple mass grave sites around Guadalajara. And yet you're out here trying to get sympathy for it?
Yeah,
Bro,
dude.
just know the audience. It's not going to happen. Furthermore, he practically came out of retirement to come play over here
Mm-hmm.
just for this to happen to him. Like, I understand that your mindset is, fuck this, I didn't need this, why the fuck did I do this? You know what, I'm so shaken up, I'm just gonna leave now. But, you know what, man? Yeah, you're a little bitch about it. Like, now, if it would have been one of your kids, I get it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's a whole different story. That's why there's the fucking madres buscadoras out there. Pero por un pinche perro, güey, no mames.
And plus the irony, right? How many people has Aaron Ramsey killed every time he scores goals? Karma is a bitch, bro.
If all it takes is one little puppy to go, se chingó, güey. Call yourself lucky.
I'm going to ask Chapin how many people Aaron Ramsey has killed in his career.
Hold on. Better yet is ask him how many deaths have coincided with Aaron Ramsey scoring a goal. Because Chapin's going to be like, whoa, that's slightly problematic. Let's walk that back.
He's at least taken like 20 bodies, dog.
Damn, wait. And you know what? At least that I can remember, it's
Oh
at least
my
15.
God, bro. Bro, this list is crazy. All right. Number 1 on the list, Osama bin Laden.
Whoa!
What? the
I
fuck?
told you it was
Bro,
problematic.
scored May 2011 against Manchester United. Famous death, Osama bin Laden. Then he took out Steve Jobs, Muammar Gaddafi, Whitney Houston, Paul Walker, Robin Williams, David Bowie, Alan Rickman, Stephen Hawking. That's a lot. That's a lot of people, man.
God damn, this dude's a fucking like hitman out there. Wait, he took out bin Laden and Gaddafi?
Yeah.
Angel of Death, man.
Why isn't this getting more coverage? Why isn't this shit on ESPN?
It is.
Why
It's
are
known.
we
It's
breaking the
well
news? Yeah, but they haven't given us names like this. All right, I want receipts. I want like surrounding, like timelines, all of it. You know what? I want a Pepe Silva style board.
I'm trying to figure out who was the most recent death, like around the time he scored, like right now.
I've been thinking about it since our last conversation, and I think you're right. I gotta say it.
Armani. Giorgio Armani died.
That's who it was. I was like, it was Ozzy, no? Pero no,
it
güey.
might. Wait, when did Ozzy die? Let me look it up. Either way, I'm blaming Aaron Ramsey for this shit.
Hey, wait. Check on him. Maybe at the lower levels, he was scoring goals during 9/11 too. Like at this point, I'm willing to blame him for it.
Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, so he scored for Pumas August 31st this year, and then Armani died a few days after. Yeah, dude. Curse lives on. So if a puppy had to get sacrificed for this to break, if he ends up retiring after this, if this is what, causes him to retire, then I think we saved a lot of lives.
El papi fue la limpia.
Oh man, that's horrible. Well, folks, that's all I had on the docket tonight. I don't know if you guys have anything else you guys wanted to discuss tonight, or if you guys want to get into closing thoughts.
I think we're good, man. It hasn't really been a hot and heavy week in Liga MX, if anything. And I'll save it for my closing thought.
All right. Well, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'll go first. Ron comes in here asking about, are we in crisis? ¿Dónde está la América? ¿Es esto una crisis? Is this or that? Mira, güey, when your own fan base measures your success by a championship or bust, those are your own words to choose from. You decide what's a crisis and not or not. Pero tu refuerzo bomba, resulta que no vale verga, güey. He hasn't been performing, all right? The Dick Flute solo that Televisa was playing for him has gone really quiet now. And if you watch the soccer shows and the pundits and everything, they're talking about it as the same thing that was said before. Yeah, he comes on strong at the beginning, but he's not able to last a full season, much less apparently a short tournament. So now let's see what happens with that. Let's see if he's able to turn it around. I hope he does, because you know what? I want for these foreigners, these exotic signings that Liga MX does to pan out. Very similar to the other Frenchie that is in Rayados, that every single time he doesn't score, they edit his picture and make him fatter. It's one of my favorite trends right now in Mexican Twitter.
Anthony Marshall, right?
Yes, Anthony Marshall.
Yo,
at this
you
point,
guys need to send that to me. I haven't seen that.
Oh, you're missing out, bro. At this point, I think he's got like 5 chins going. Like,
it's like that
and
guy
there's-
that said he wasn't gonna cut his hair until Manchester United won like what 5 years in a row. He has like a huge afro.
Bro, he's got birds growing in that thing now. Like, it's fucking wild. But yeah, these type of things is what you want to see happening positively around the league. Unfortunately, they're just not happening. Now, furthermore, you have Cruz Azul, who I've been saying is heating up, is on the right track. They're leaders right now. Granted, it's a 1-point gap at the top, but you have number 3 and number 2 that are about to go in on a head-to-head battle. So we'll see what happens there. Cruz Azul is going to go play against the retarded cousins of the league. Well, at least of Los Cuatro Grandes, right? So those are 3 easy points that they should be walking away with. And Chivas, well, guys, just start lubing up. All right? Because the only way que Rayados no les mete la pinche pipa is if they lose a man again in the first half, the way they have in the last 2 matches. All right? Because even in those games, they've been a man down. They have been extremely dangerous. They've been able to press. Puta madre, güey. No le empataron. They went ahead against Tigres, a man down. And then Tigres loses a man as well, and then Tigres ties it. Like, los norteños, güey, los pinches regios, those cousin fuckers, have been putting in the work. They've been doing something right up there. Now, I'm not saying that it's incest, but,
It's money.
you know, I'd rather go with incest. Pero, nonetheless, the league is heating up. We're getting into this very exciting point. And now it's just, let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. Thank you, Abdias, for joining us. Joel, you still with us? Maybe not.
All right, I guess I'll go in lieu of Joel. So, as always, I want to start off with my Jóvenes rundown. So, the number this week was 50 out of 378, 13%. Not a great number, not an awful number. You know, ideally, I want 15 at least. This is short of that, and it's been trending that way for a bit. Yeah, we did have a couple double jornadas, a U20 World Cup. But it's not quite as high as I wanted it this late in the season. But you know, we still are having morros like get down in the league, and I just wanted to touch on a few that caught my eye. Of course, Hormiga, number 1, 11 goals in the league. It's been a long time since a Mexican Jovenazo has done anything close to that. So you know, he's probably the best Jovenazo. Mora injured this week. But a good Joven that I thought played great, even though his team tied 0-0. Toluca's Del Villar, center back for Toluca. He's a young, I think he's 19 years old from the Toluca Cantera. I think he's ready for the senior national team. I don't think you get to be a day in day out starter for this Toluca team without being absolute quality, and he is, and he's consistently doing this. So it's been a year now of him consistently churning out results. I think it's time for Del Villar to start being a regular feature, at the very least, on the bench for La Selección on the national team. Montes too slow. I think I don't want to see him anymore, but I know Vasco can play him. But on to my other point. I'm gonna put on my Infowars conspiracy hat for you guys, and I just want to slander Televisa a little bit, because in the chat it was popping off this past couple days, and it started off with that 68 massacre in Mexico City, 10 days prior to the Olympic Games starting, right? And I criticized Televisa because they were, the biggest media outlet in Mexico at the time, and they covered it up. It wasn't until years later that we found out there was 300 casualties, right? So Televisa bad, they subverted the truth, they covered up a massacre, right? Let's fast forward to Querétaro Atlas, right? The biggest media conglomerate in Mexico is saying there was no deaths, but we know that there were. And so here they are in modern times covering up or subverting the truth, right? And then, but like they're not like how they used to be, where they were used like a condom by the arm of the state back in the day. Like nowadays they're still very powerful. They still have a lot of influence, but they work in like a different sort of way. Now they silence detractors or they suppress criticism against their institution by buying out their biggest critics. Faitelson, big detractor for Televisa. Now he works for TUDN. He's fucking a soulless guy. What's it called? Who else? They got Marin from Última Palabra from Fox. And then he was at TUDN before he died. And then now they're buying Mauricio Imay, I believe, from ESPN, who was ESPN's like on the ground reporter for La Selección, right? And oftentimes he was a problem for La Selección because he provided objective journalism on the ground, but from an organization that is not associated or like not in the in the milieu of the Mexican politics. It's ESPN. It's outside. It's in the United States. So this guy who was like objective and on the ground and had a real bird's eye view of what's happening. What's it called? He's now gonna be working for Televisa, for TUDN. And so like there's another guy that could expose this corporation, this conglomerate that is being silenced, through money by selling out. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is that Televisa has a long history of subverting like journalism, the truth, and it does so in a myriad of different ways, and it's evolved in how it's done it, and now it's even cleaned itself where it doesn't have to like subvert the truth like it used to. It can just buy out anyone who would criticize them. And so that was my closing thought. A little bit conspiracy theory. Maybe I'm off my rocker, but I guess what I'm trying to say is Televisa bad. Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Love it. Rifaldo, I have a question for you. Talk to me about Brian Gutierrez. There was a rumor today about him doing a one-time switch to Mexico. He's being called up for the U.S. men's national team, even played in these most recent friendlies against Mexico and Japan. Do you know anything about this kid?
So I don't know a lot from him. He's 22 years old. He's got 15 goals and assists this season in MLS. I believe he plays for the Chicago Fire, and they just recently got eliminated in the MLF playoffs. But for the first, they made the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. So I hear he's good. I haven't really seen too much about him. He's eligible to play for either one of us. There's strong rumors that he could represent either or. I don't think we're in a position to ignore a talented young kid. But I don't know if he's got what it takes to really bulldoze his way into the national team this far along into the process.
Very interesting. Reading a report from The Athletic. from Tom Bogert. He was just posted today. It says that he is in the process of securing a Mexican passport and with it the eligibility to play for the national team. One thing I thought was very interesting is Chivas actually tried to buy him the summer of 2024. Chicago turned it down, and he ended up staying at Chicago. So it's someone that's been on at least Chivas' radar, and I'm curious to see how this pans out. And maybe we lose Marcelo Flores, but we gain Brian Gutierrez. We'll see.
Now, really quickly, since we are talking about Chicago, I would just like to say this, that soccer culture has officially reached Chicago and the MLS. The reason why I say this is because the puto chant was being heard loud and clear.
That's right.
In Chicago. So much so that Greg Berhalter had to go up to the supporters section and beg them to stop chanting puto, which only bolstered the fans to yell it even louder. The game was suspended 5 times and was very close to being canceled by the ref.
Yeah, no, I saw that. I saw those images, and I thought it was interesting, right? Because they've always blamed the the chant on the Mexican national team and Mexicans, but when it's happening in MLS, like, you can't blame Mexicans anymore. It's MLS.
Hold on. All right, really quickly, I just want to make this point. Before Chicago, who was the last team that had this issue with the puto chant?
In MLS or?
Yeah, in MLS.
Was it Galaxy? Who was it?
Rifalo, do you know?
I think it was LAFC or San Diego.
It was San Diego.
Oh, that's right.
Now, let's take a really close look at the social makeup of these two cities, Chicago and San Diego. What do they have in common? A lot of fucking Mexicans. All right. So once again, the question is this a Mexican problem? Is this just a soccer culture problem? Or better yet, is this even a problem at all? Now, what I will say is that the one thing that will always be true is that when Mexicans get into a stadium and they start drinking, el desmadre takes over. All right? And so whether that be being in San Diego chanting puto, being in San Diego and being a 30-year-old man that's knocking out a 17-year-old, as to what happened when San Diego versus LAFC scrapped last time that they met, or being in Chicago and chanting puto. There are certain things that just happen at a soccer game that, honestly, in my eyes, is actually quite beautiful to watch.
For sure. Well, thank you guys for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it. I don't have any closing thoughts. I know Tiba Sepulveda, the rumor is that he is unhappy with the lack of playing time. Milito doesn't rate him, and he'll be looking for his exit. And I think we all can celebrate a little bit because he has been a huge liability for Chivas for quite some time. And it's time for him to find another team. I don't know where I saw this, but I saw a rumor about Carlos Salcedo potentially returning to Chivas. Not sure how I feel about that because he brings a lot of drama with him, but I would take him over Tiba any day of the week. And with that, guys, we will catch you on the next one. We look forward to this final Jornada 17 conclusion and seeing how these teams shape up. There's a lot of great matches happening on Saturday, so stay tuned and we'll catch you on the next one.